live-ish on a couple of streams here. So we'll see if this actually works. And good afternoon. And this is the very first time, oh man, I don't even know if this is the very first time that I have ever streamed live to Twitch. So hello Twitch, how are you guys doing? And we are on YouTube as well as Facebook and Periscope and all these other stuff. So cheers, good afternoon, and this is just tea, not coffee. It's too late for coffee. But today we're going to talk about the DJI Ronin S Firmware update, as well as my favorite handle that I've been using on my gimbal. And the gimbal and this Sony that I've been using, this is an amazing kit. And I want to share with you just this little video that I did for Make It Show. And Quinn was in the Make It Show this weekend. Thank you so much for everybody who dropped by. We had so many they're not old, like they're not in age, but like they're good friends of ours who stopped by the booth. And we are so glad to see everybody. And Quinn just killed it. But also, we made a lot of new friends at the Make It Show, which was incredible. So thank you so much to Jenna, Diane, as well as Joanne, and it was amazing. Here is the little video that I made for them that you can watch right here. So that was just the same day edit that I did, and I was running around with this rig, and this is the only camera that I brought, shot for 3 hours, and then it sat down and edited until my brain exploded to make that video. But this is a great kit, and we're going to talk about a couple of things right now, and the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that there is a new Ronin S firmware that you should get. And you can just do a search, Ronin S. I've got links in the notes as well, but anybody who is a Ronin S user, you've got to download the software onto your computer first, but then it's a pretty easy task to actually just upload and plug in the USB-C on this guy and then update the firmware. And when you do this, make sure that you also plug in, if you have it, the focus motor, and I do. So have everything plugged in on, and then when you plug in the USB-C cable, the firmware update will automatically do its thing, okay? Now, why is this so important to me as a Sony shooter is because they added the ability to focus pull with your Sony camera without the focus motor. So like, I did a whole review on the focus motor, and it's like, do I even need it now? I don't know. But I do know, and I actually still need it. So, spoiler alert, if you got the focus motor earlier on, don't worry, because the focus pulling kind of sucks. It doesn't really work. And there's some other goodies, even if you don't shoot Sony. So if you're a Canon shooter or Panasonic shooter, or I don't know, I don't think Ricoh, you're in the business here anymore. But yeah, they do have some goodies for you. Like, they allow you to change the speed of the focus pull with this little knobby thing, this thing here. And so that's kind of nice, because what I found with the Sony, when I plug in the USB-C cable that you can plug in from your Ronin S, is that it's really hard to control the focus pulling, because even when you stop, it keeps on drifting past where you stopped. And when you go the other way, it also drifts. And so it's not very accurate at all. The focus motor, the actual real motor, is way more accurate than focus pulling with the cable. And I know that Ronin now has 2 different sets that they sell for the Ronin S. And one comes with a whole bunch of extra cables. I bought mine early on, and it came with the MCCC cable, which is a USB-C cable that plugs into your Ronin S. And that is great, except for a couple things. Okay, first of all, it's not all roses. When you plug in the USB-C cable into the Sony A7 III, it actually disables the in-camera stabilization. And so all of a sudden, your beautiful stabilized sensor is no longer stabilized. It's not really a big deal because, yo man, you're on a gimbal, right? And so if you're plugging in the USB-C cable from your Ronin S, you're good to go because this gimbal rocks, okay? But the second thing that really kind of sucks is that they removed the ability to have the HDMI output display anything. So I just did a review of the Polar Pro monitor arm, which I loved for framing, but then this firmware update came out, and then I tried to plug it in with my USB-C and HDMI cable so I could monitor what I was actually framing, and nothing, nada. The HDMI output is disabled when a USB-C cable is plugged in. A tear, so not so cool. Anyways, now, so good and bad. Okay, Dave, would I recommend ever using the USB-C cable and the firmware update? Well, yes, because we go back to the pros list here. You'll notice right over here, not only do we have the focus pulling, which I don't actually use, and not only do we have wide reliability instead of using the infrared cable that was kind of ridiculous before, but here we go. We have the record button that I can start and stop right from this guy here. And so instead of having to reach up onto the back of the camera to start and stop recording, I can just press this little red button on with my thumb and engage and stop the recording. And so I do love that one feature, and that's reason enough for me to plug in my USB-C cable when I'm running and gunning with this kit here. Now, let's move on and take a look at one magnificent piece of metal that the people, I don't even know who these guys are, but they're in China. Dude, which is hilarious. So these guys reached out to me and said, yo, would you be interested in, reviewing this handle that we made for the Ronin S? And I said, sure. And between the time that they gave it to me and now, they've already changed the brand name, which is really quite strange if you think about it, right? So you make sure you use the links. But this collar is, I actually recommended another collar before on a previous show, but this one is even better. I show you why it's better. And don't worry, they didn't pay me to say this, but what is cool about it is the way we carry the camera in what they call flashlight mode. Now, this thing has a whole bunch of grippy thingies here. It's not really grippy though because it's all metal, okay? Which is a good thing because it's nice and strong. It does have a hot shoe port at the top. They've got a whole bunch of holes here. Can you see that, the holes? Yeah. And they have 1/4 inch 20 threads as well as 3/16 threads if you want to add more attachments. But one thing that is kind of a bummer about this particular handle is that there's no real easy way to attach a strap. And my other one that I recommended had very easy attachment points for straps. So what I did was I just added these two pieces of paracord, okay? Now, paracord, I should warn you, if you do this like me, that you should probably double it up. So this is actually two separate pieces in case one fails. And then I've got the knot here, but then I've also got an extra security zip tie just in case it fails. Because you do not want to drop this whole system because this is very heavy and very fragile and very expensive. So no, that would not be cool at all. But yeah, anyways, so there's that. But why, Dave, is this important? Because I did have other systems that I recommended, to have a strap and all that. But okay, what happens in flashlight mode? You're supposed to hold on from the handle, right? And then you're supposed to be able to go like, this is called flashlight mode. Okay, and this camera rig is not light, right? And this is not exactly the smartest way to carry a weight that is so heavy on the end of your camera or end of your gimbal. And so why Ronin? And when you look at the Zhiyun Weeble, the new one, they have this handle that goes up. This makes a lot of sense, right? Because now what I can do is just grab it from here. Whoops. And let's see here. Ta-da! Now, let's get my mic here. Now the weight is distributed. I can let go and I can do a bicep curl like Arnold. No, not really. But what's cool is that I can carry this and get low to the ground really easily and just adjust my angle as needed. And I can do it's much easier to just lever and use this with that top handle, okay? Now, if you think about it, it's like having a weight, right? And sadly, the way that Ronin and every other gimbal until the Weeble was designed, was like this, like this. And so we're supposed to carry out with only one weight, okay? This is not smart because your forearms are gonna go, right? That doesn't make any sense. You wanna be centered with the weight underneath you or on top of you, whatever. And so that's what this handle does. So I do have links in the description. Make sure you go get it. And yeah, for all the Ronin S users, the major complaint of the Ronin S is that it is heavy. And so this will help you out a lot. Well, anyways, that's about all I have for you today, guys. But I do have a thought of the day before you go, and it is this. Being the best you can be is something that you can personally evaluate. After all, who better can determine if you truly did your best? And having pride means never settling for less. Here's to a job well done. Thanks for watching. Links and notes are in the description. Make sure to sub, to like, to comment, and I'd love to know what your favorite accessories are for the Ronin S. So cheers, guys, and until next time, over and out.